Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 47. Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishtaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishtaha Krishnam Tad Guhya Namabhihi Krishnam Tad Guhya Namabhihi Tataha Te Krishna Hridayaha Tataste Krishna Hridayaha Swashraman Prayayuhu Punaha Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishta Krishnam Tadguhya Namabhihi Tataste Krishna Hridaya Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishta Krishnam Tadguhya Namabhihi Tataste Krishna Hridaya Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishta Krishnam Tadguhya Namabhihi Tataste Krishna Hridaya Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishta Krishnam Tadguhya Namabhihi Tataste Krishna Hridaya Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishta Krishnam Tadguhya Namabhihi Tataste Krishna Hridaya Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishta Krishnam Tadguhya Namabhihi Tataste Krishna Hridaya Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha Tushtuvur Munayo Hrishta Krishnam Tadguhya Namabhihi Tataste Krishna Hridaya Swashraman Prayayuh Punaha. Synonyms: Tushtuvuhu, satisfied. Munayaha, the great sages headed by Vyasadeva, etc. Hrishtaha, all in a happy mood. Krishnam, unto Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. tat, his, guhya, confidential, naam abhihi, by his holy name, etc. Tataha, thereafter, te, they, Krishna Hridayaha, persons who always bear Lord Krishna in their hearts, Swa Ashraman, to their respective hermitages, Prayayuhu, returned, Punaha, again. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. All the great sages then glorified Lord Sri Krishna, who was present there, by confidential Vedic hymns. Then all of them returned to their respective hermitages, bearing always Lord Krishna within their hearts. Translation with repetition. All the great sages then glorified Lord Sri Krishna, who was present there, by confidential Vedic hymns. Then all of them returned to their respective hermitages, bearing always Lord Krishna within their hearts. Purport. The devotees of the Lord are always in the heart of the Lord, and the Lord is always in the hearts of the devotees. That is a sweet relation between the Lord and His devotees. Due to unalloyed love and devotion for the Lord, the devotees always see Him within themselves, and the Lord also, although He has nothing to do and nothing to aspire to, is always busy in attending to the welfare of His devotees. For the ordinary living beings, the law of nature is there for all actions and reactions, but He is always anxious to put His devotees on the right path. The devotees, therefore, are under the direct care of the Lord. And the Lord also voluntarily puts Himself under the care of His devotees only. So, all the sages, headed by Vyasadeva, were the devotees of the Lord, and therefore they chanted the Vedic hymns after the funeral ceremony just to please the Lord, who was present there personally. All the Vedic hymns are chanted to please Lord Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15. All the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta, etc. are seeking Him only, and all hymns are for glorifying Him only. The sages, therefore, performed the exact acts suitable for the purpose, and they happily departed for their respective hermitages. Thus ends a wonderful transcendental Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Let us see the verse one more time. Tushtur munayo hrishtaha Krishnam tadguhya namabhihi tataste Krishna hridayaha swashraman prayayuh punaha. All the great sages then glorified Lord Sri Krishna, who was present there, by confidential Vedic hymns. Then all of them returned to their respective hermitages, bearing always Lord Sri Krishna within their hearts. So all these great sages are assembled to hear the instructions of Bhishma Deva given to the Pandavas, Yudhishthira and Pandavas, and Lord Sri Krishna was also present there. And all these sages, it has been mentioned in the purport that they are all devotees, and so they are inclined to glorify the Supreme Lord. And it may be, you may wonder that, they are there to hear Bhishma Deva share his realizations with Pandavas. What was the need? They may say that we already know all these things. But they were all present, and they had traveled from all over the universe. These sages, they are not restricted just to movements on planet Earth. Formerly, the movement between the planets was done to finer methods, much more civilized and subtle methods. Prabhupada says it is not through the grossly foolish the methods that we have today of using spacecrafts or spaceships, etc. But it was done through much more subtler methods, and it was much more efficient. They could travel across the universe very rapidly. So they had all assembled there to hear Lord Bhishma Deva. And in this connection, there is a lecture by His Grace Stoka Krishna Maharaj, where he says that why are these sages present here? Why are these sages present and listening to Bhishma Deva provide all this realizations? It is because it is one thing to have bookish knowledge, a knowledge of the science of devotion, but it is a different thing to apply it in our life. So there are different sages there assembled at different levels of transcendental realization, and they are there to hear from perhaps the greatest devotee of their times, Bhishma Deva, who has lived that his entire life, and at the end of his life, he is going back home, back to Godhead. This is not to be, the importance of this and the greatness of this cannot be minimized at all. So all the great sages, including Vyasadeva himself and many other great sages, they were all present there to show to the world that not only is it important to have the knowledge, to seek a spiritual master and acquire the knowledge, but also when a pure devotee who has applied those teachings in his entire life is sharing the realization, what should be the mood of the persons listening. So it is a very important scene that is unfolding, where all these great sages have been assembled and they have heard Bhishma Deva speak, and now they have stayed back until he has quit his body and all the funeral arrangements have happened, and then they are returning home to the respective hermitages, bearing always Lord Sri Krishna within their hearts. And the purport is also beginning with this concept of bearing Lord Krishna within the heart. The devotees of the Lord are always in the heart of the Lord, and the Lord is always in the hearts of the devotees. That is a sweet relation. So this has been described. This is a reciprocal relationship where the devotees of the Lord are always in the heart of the Lord, and the Lord is in the hearts of the devotees. So it is not a one-way relationship. This is a reciprocal relationship, and it is being described as a sweet relationship between the Lord and his devotees. And throughout this discussion, where there is understanding or discussion about the Lord and his devotees, the question will often come in our mind, okay, all these things are being talked about. Do they apply to all devotees or pure devotees, or what? To whom does it apply? So here also, His Grace Toka Krishna Maharaj clarifies that this relationship is between the Lord and His pure devotees, and as well as devotees who are on the path of pure devotion. Who are on the path of pure devotion. So there are different paths to devotion. There are paths where the primary goal is economic development. But even in such a path, there is devotion. There is a small amount of devotion mixed. Without devotion, one cannot advance even in economic development. But that path primarily is aimed at economic development. But there is devotion for that. Devotion with material desires. That is different. But here, the sweet relationship that's being talked about is with the Lord and His pure devotees, and those who are following the path of pure devotion. Those who accept that the goal, the highest goal, is pure devotion, and they are seriously, sincerely endeavoring on that path. And although they may not have reached the pinnacle of that path, but they are aspiring. Just as when we start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we start hearing the sound vibration. Madhu Pandit Prabhu says that this pleases the Lord. When we chant and we hear the sound, this pleases the Lord. But actually the Lord is full in Himself. He does not require to be pleased. Does not require, has nothing lacking. And we are not even pure devotees. And as such, it is not possible for us to please the Lord with our feeble intentions and impure chanting. But the Lord becomes pleased not because of our purity of our chanting, but because the sincerity of our efforts and the desire to become to a level where we will chant purely. And because we have that seriousness of intent, therefore, the Lord says, okay, the forgotten soul who has forgotten me has now started his steps to come back towards me. And because he has started his steps to come back towards me, I am glad one day he will reach the right level, the right destination. And for that, he becomes pleased. So, it is possible for our actions to please the Lord. And therefore, the sweet relationship is possible even for an aspiring devotee who is on the path of pure devotion. However, what is necessary is the sincerity of our desire to be on the path of pure devotion and not to approach the Lord with the goal that I will utilize this process for economic development or sense gratification. So in this context, there is a wonderful story of, in the context of the devotees of the Lord always having the Lord within their heart, and the Lord having the devotees within His heart. In this context, there is a wonderful pastime of Maharaj Ambarisha. You all heard about Maharaj Ambarish. But today we will explore certain aspects of that pastime that perhaps you may not have seen before. So I'm going to read some of this pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam. This pastime happens in 9th canto, 4th chapter. And this episode begins with the wonderful verse that we all heard so many times, Savai Manah Krishna Padaravindayo Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. So Maharaj Ambarish was always engaging his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of the Lord, his words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples, and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulasi offered to the Lord. And he engaged his tongue in tasting Lord's prasad. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, his head in bowing before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. So, Maharaj Ambarish, perfect, pure devotee, and he has engaged all his senses in devotional service. And you'll see as the pastime unfolds, let us observe what is happening. And whatever duties he was performing as his prescribed duty, he always offered the results of his royal activities to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the enjoyer of everything and is beyond the perception of material senses. He certainly took advice from Brahmanas who were faithful devotees of the Lord, and thus he ruled the planet Earth without difficulty. So this is an interesting sentence in the translation of this verse. He certainly took advice from Brahmanas who were faithful devotees of the Lord, and thus he ruled the planet Earth without difficulty. We often face difficulties in our life, but we feel that perhaps these difficulties may not be understood by the sincere disciples of Srila Prabhupada, because perhaps in their personal life they may not have encountered this situation. So how will they be able to help us? So, and because we have this tendency to try and resolve the difficulties by ourselves, by our limited means, and perhaps by the strength of some infinitesimally small devotional service that we may have, we directly approach Prabhupada in our home, in our altar, and pray to Srila Prabhupada to give us the strength. And no doubt we will get the strength. Prabhupada reciprocates, the Lord reciprocates as per the desire of his pure devotees. But then, because we are trying with our infinitesimal spiritual strength, certainly our difficulties do not get overcome easily. But here, there is Maharaj Ambarish. Not only, he himself is a devotee, such an advanced devotee. And he is a king and a devotee. So he can very well say that I have got all the knowledge necessary and directly the Lord will reciprocate with me. There is no need for me to consult anybody. But he ruled his kingdom by taking advice from the Brahmanas, who are faithful devotees of the Lord. This is a qualification. Who are faithful devotees of the Lord, and thus he ruled the planet Earth without difficulty. So in our life also, if we want to, how many of us want difficulties in our life, and the difficulties to remain in our life, and the difficulties to be not easily overcome in our life? None of us want like that. We all want, we know difficulties will come, but we want the difficulties to be overcome easily. So the formula for that is to take advice from faithful devotees of the Lord. And we take such advice, then automatically the devotees are easily overcome. Or in fact, there are no difficulties. And then once Maharaj Ambarish, he performed many great yajnas in a sacred place on the banks of river Saraswati. And it says, in desert countries where flowed the river Saraswati. And so there is a desert region, perhaps it's not mentioned here, but must be some portions of present-day Rajasthan, where previously river Saraswati is considered to have flown as well. And because the river Ganges and the Yamuna, of course, they are all very fertile lands, Triveni, Sangamam, etc., no chance of desert there. And these great performance, great sacrifices included Ashwamedha Yajna and many other such great sacrifices, and thus satisfied the master of all yajnas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such sacrifices were performed with great opulence and suitable paraphernalia, and contribution of dakshina to the Brahmanas, who were supervised by great personalities like Vashishta, Ashita, and Gautama, representing the king and performer of sacrifices. So Maharaj Ambarish was very opulent king, and these sacrifices were also done very opulently. And then the citizens of the state, you have all heard of Ramarajya, how the residents of Lord Ramachandra's state in Ayodhya, they were all pure devotees, and Lord Ramachandra himself was present. The Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there as Lord Ramachandra, and naturally the residents of Ayodhya were fully attached to Lord Ramachandra, and he was their life and soul. Now, that is natural, you may say, because Lord Ramachandra himself is Krishna, and he's all attractive. So it is so easy for his residents to be attracted to him. If we also had Lord Ramachandra as our president or king, we will also be attracted, but we don't have that. But see here, Maharaj Ambarish, he is not Lord Krishna. What is the state of his subjects? Were they all attached to Maharaj Ambarish, or what was the situation? So the citizens of the state of Maharaj Ambarish were accustomed to chanting and hearing about the glorious activities of personality of Godhead. Thus, they never aspired to be elevated to heavenly planets, which are extremely dear even to demigods. So his citizens were also devotees, and they were not having any material aspirations at all. They did not want to perform pious activities, and they did not come to attend in the yagna, whatever Maharaj Ambarish was performing, in order to get some pious credit so they can go to ascend to heavenly kingdom. They were not interested in the Karmakanda sections of the Vedas. They were not worshipping, therefore they were not worshipping. It is implied that they were not worshipping devatas, performing Navagraha homas, Ganapati homa, and all these different materialistic activities, pious activities as prescribed in the Vedas for economic development. They were not performing that. They had only one goal, which is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they were accustomed. How did they do it? By chanting and hearing about the glorious activities of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what happens next is a very wonderful verse here. Let me share my screen again. Samvardhayanti yat kama swarajya paribhavitaha durlabhanapi siddhanam mukundam hridi pashyataha. The translation is, those who are saturated with the transcendental happiness of rendering service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead are uninterested even in the achievements of great mystics, for such achievements do not enhance the transcendental bliss felt by a devotee who always thinks of Krishna within the core of his heart. So these residents of Maharaj Ambarish state, the citizens of the state, they had no attraction. Forget the higher planets. Even the siddhis that are available to the mystic yogis, they were not interested in that. And why is that? The answer is given here. That those who are saturated with the transcendental happiness of rendering service to the Supreme Lord are uninterested even in the great achievements of the great mystics. Why? So you may say, yes, there is services available to the Supreme Lord. But why are they not interested in the achievements of great mystics? Because such achievements do not enhance the transcendental bliss felt by a devotee who always thinks of Krishna within the core of his heart. How many of us here want unlimited, unending transcendental bliss? All of us want. We don't want the sufferings that we go through, and we don't want even temporary satisfaction, temporary pleasures that come as a result of material activities sometimes, which are always accompanied by distress. We don't realize that. But with all the efforts that we have undertaken to come to the temple, hear the classes, hear Bhagavatam, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, take up a oath, vow of chanting a fixed number of rounds, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Certainly we have developed a certain level of understanding that we want to aspire for that Atyantika Sukham, the ultimate unending transcendental bliss, the highest state. And that comes when one is always thinking of Krishna within the core of his heart. Raso Vaisaha, Krishna is a reservoir of all pleasure. So when that reservoir, that infinite reservoir of all pleasure is within the heart, and we are immersed in that, then the transcendental bliss that we experience is so high that the achievements of mystic yoga, that anima, laghima, etc., all the powers that somebody may get of being able to fly to different places, of becoming invisible, of being able to control somebody else's mind, all these which appear very attractive, right? It will be very nice if we can control somebody's mind, isn't it? So when you're coming here and you're thinking, okay, after this class there'll be prasadam, and if I could control the mind of the cook and cook the prasadam that I want, like that. Some thought may be there, but that pleasure is nothing compared to the pleasure, the transcendental bliss felt by a devotee who always thinks of Krishna within the core of his heart. And in the purport of this, Prabhupada quotes this wonderful verse, and I'm actually about to come to the actual verse for which we are hearing this pastime. But before that, we hear this verse. This is a quotation from Prabodhananda Saraswati in a book called Chaitanya Chandramrita. You've all heard of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but this is Chaitanya Chandramrita. And text 5, Kaivalyam narakayate tridishapur akasha pushpayate durdendriya kala sarpa patali protkhata damstrayate Vishwam purna sukhayate vidhi mahendradischa kitayate yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam tam gauram yeva stumaha. When a devotee has achieved the position of rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, when a devotee has achieved the position of rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he thinks the impersonal Brahman to be no better than hell. And he regards material happiness in the heavenly planets to be like a will-o'-the-wisp. As far as the perfection of mystic powers is concerned, a devotee compares it to a venomous snake with no teeth. A mystic yogi is especially concerned with controlling the senses. But because the senses of a devotee are engaged in the service of the Lord, Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate, there is no need for separate control of senses. For those who are materially engaged, control of senses is required. But a devotee's senses are all engaged in the service of the Lord, which means they are already controlled. So, why is it that no separate endeavor is required? Is because, firstly, for a normal person, the senses are compared with venomous serpents. In Bhagavad Gita also is there. The senses are compared to venomous senses. I don't remember exactly where. But the senses are compared to venomous serpents. But one who has taken to devotional service, it is like the senses are still there. It is not the senses are not there. But now they are like a serpent with his fangs removed. Durdantendriya kala sarpa patali. Kala sarpa. Kala sarpa is a cobra. So the cobra has got deadly venom. So the senses are compared to that. Even for a person endeavoring for perfection, even one sense can easily take away that person. So senses are very, very dangerous. And therefore, anyone who is endeavoring for perfection should try to control their senses. But how does a devotee achieve that? The means of achieving that is to render transcendental loving devotional service through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Because transcendental loving service is not possible to attain just like that. Unless one has a mercy of Lord Chaitanya himself or his representative, a pure devotee, it is not possible to achieve the position of rendering transcendental loving service. Even for a moment, it is not possible. Forget rendering that in a sustained basis. So without the mercy of a pure devotee, such a thing is not possible. But if somebody who has achieved that, then for such a person, all these other things are useless. Impersonal Brahman to be no better than hell, because it is a state where you are not rendering, no possibility of rendering service to the Lord or his pure devotees. He regards material happiness in the heavenly planets to be like will o' the wisps, which means it is a fabricated thing. It is just temporary, just goes away like that. As far as the perfection of mystic powers is concerned, it is there is no purpose behind doing that, because by following the devotional service, the senses become like a serpent with no teeth. So then there is this. I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. Let me stop sharing. Okay. So what happens? All the residents are all devotees, and they have no desire to have material economic development or even mystic yoga practice. So while he's performing this yajna and his wonderful subjects, and Ambarish Maharaj himself is consulting the devotees in his assembly, and he's ruling the country without any difficulty. And while performing this yajna, Maharishi Durvasa Muni appears there. Uninvited guest. It is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Durvasa Muni appears as an uninvited guest. And one more small thing which I will mention before Durvasa Muni appears. Maharaj Ambarish, it is mentioned here, Maharaj Ambarish gave up all attachment to household affairs, wives, children, friends and relatives to the best of powerful elephants, means attachment to the powerful elephants, because kings are always attached to their horses and elephants and their wealth. So you may be wondering why is attached to elephant? No, because he's a king. The kings have, elephants are there, and these special elephants, very powerful elephant, because if he is going on an elephant, right, and some more powerful elephant comes and starts, challenging his elephant, it won't be very nice, right? So the king will always be on the most powerful elephant, because often king goes on elephant, and the elephant should not be like some sada elephant. It should be a powerful elephant. So naturally, after some time, they'll develop a bond. The elephant and the king will say, "Arey, how are you? Yes, please come," like that, right? So elephant will become friendly with the king, and the king will become attached. But Maharaj Ambarish gave up such attachment. Beautiful chariots, carts, horses, inexhaustible jewels, ornaments, and garments. But in spite of all this, you will see later, Maharaj Ambarish, when he's performing this yajna, his wife is present with him, and she is also participating in the yajna. And it is mentioned that she was also like that. Similar, unalloyed devotional service. It is not that he took sannyas or divorced his wife or something. He gave up attachment, the material attachment to his wife, family, and the kingdom, etc. That is very important, Maharaj Ambarish case. You will see that his wife is sitting right next to him and participating in all the devotional activities. And yet Maharaj Ambarish is not attached, materially attached. So, the Lord, So as he was performing these wonderful devotional service activities, it is mentioned that the Lord, being very pleased with the unalloyed devotion of Maharaj Ambarish, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, gave the king his personal Sudarshana Chakra, which is fearful to the enemies and which always protects the devotee from the enemies and adversities, from any kind of adversity. So Sudarshana, the Lord's personal disc, it protects not just from physical danger, but from enemies and adversities. So the Maharaj Ambarish, along with his queen, who was equally qualified, observed the vow of Ekadashi and Dwadashi. So they observed the Ekadashi Vrata And in the month of Kartik, after observing the vow for more than a year, after observing a fast for 3 nights, and after bathing in the Yamuna river, Maharaj Ambarish worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari in Madhuvan. So now Durvasa Muni appears, and Durvasa Muni is received with great respect, reverence, and Maharaj Ambarish requests Durvasa Muni to take some food. Then Durvasa Muni accepts his invitation, and he says, okay, please wait, I'll just go to the river and I'll be back. So Durvasa Muni then goes to Durvasa. Now this is a different scene than the previous yajnas that were performed. So the previous Ashwamedha yajnas, etc. happened in the countries which are deserts where Saraswati is flowing. Here it's a different scene altogether. It's a different day. It's not the same situation. It's a different incident where he is observing the fast, and this is close to Yamuna river in Madhuvan. So he says, I'll just I'll be right back. So Durvasa Muni goes to Yamuna, takes a dip and performs his rituals. But while he is returning, time is passing, Dwadashi is getting exhausted. There is only one muhurta that is left for Dwadashi. And so Ambarish Maharaj, he does not want this muhurta to go away without having broken the fast. It's very important to break the fast in the muhurta for the successful culmination of the Ekadashi Vrata to please the Supreme Lord. So he is wondering what to do. So he consults with the Brahmanas and the devotees who are assembled there, and seeks their permission to have a sip of water, Achamana. So when you take a sip of water, that is equivalent to both breaking the fast, because he is nirjal fasting he is doing. So if you take a sip of water, it's breaking the fast. But at the same time, taking water is not considered as eating food. So it comes under both categories of breaking the fast as well as not breaking the fast. Now when Durvasa Muni comes back with his mystic power, he is able to see that, oh, he has taken a sip of water. And he becomes wild, he becomes very, very angry. So see the mood of Durvasa Muni, how offended he becomes. Still hungry, Durvasa Muni, with his body trembling, his face curved, I don't know how it will be, eyebrows crooked in a frown, angrily spoke as follows to King Ambarish, who stood before him with folded hands. Alas, just see the behavior of this cruel man. He is not a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Being proud of his material opulence and his position, he considers himself God. Just see how he has transgressed the laws of religion. So like this, he is blaspheming Ambarish Maharaj. Who? Durvasa Muni. Maharaj Ambarish, you have invited me to eat as a guest, but instead of feeding me, you have yourself eaten first. Because of your misbehavior, I shall now show you something to punish you. So this is an etiquette of inviting guests. To many of us, it is very well known. But for those who do not know this, when you invite a guest, then oftentimes we see, even at homes, often nowadays, we call guests and then everybody takes the food together. We'll say, okay, food is kept here, you take your plate, we'll all take. So it's not the etiquette. The host always has to eat later, the guest has to eat first. In our temple also, on festivals, occasions, we have a lot of guests who come. So I know that it is very heartening to see that most of you, everybody is waiting to serve the guests first, and then when the guests have taken, then we take. So that is a very nice etiquette. As Durvasa Muni said this, his face became red with anger. Uprooting a bunch of hair from his head. So difficult, must be very painful. Uprooted some hair from his head. He created a demon resembling the blazing fire of devastation to punish Maharaj Ambarish. So there is a blazing fire of devastation. When devastation happens, there is a blazing fire. Taking a trident. Now what this person who has come, right, who looks like the blazing fire of devastation, this demon, what does he do? Taking a trident in his hand and making the surface of the earth tremble with his footsteps, that blazing creature came before Maharaj Ambarish. But the king, upon seeing him, was not at all disturbed and did not move even slightly from his position. As the fire in the forest immediately burns to ashes an angry snake, so by the previous order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his disc, the Sudarshana Chakra, immediately burned to ashes the created demon to protect the Lord's devotee. So you see this person, the demon, himself is blazing fire, right? So he is obviously made of some fireproof material because he is blazing fire. But this Sudarshana Chakra burnt him also to ashes. See the power of Sudarshana Chakra. Upon seeing that his own attempt had failed and that the Sudarshan Chakra was moving toward him, Durvasa Muni became very frightened. Now see, Durvasa Muni became frightened. Sudarshana Chakra is coming, he becomes. But earlier, Ambarish Maharaj was not frightened at all. He just stood his ground, did not even move a muscle, did not even move an inch. He didn't even take a step back. He just stood like that. He was not afraid. What can happen to me? Whatever God wants will happen. That's all. And began to run in all directions to save his life. So Durvasa Muni starts running, and now I'll go a little faster. I think the class also has to run a little bit. To protect himself, he goes to different places. He goes to Lord Brahma, he goes to Lord Shiva. They are not able to do anything, and then they direct him to Lord Vishnu. He then goes to Lord Vishnu. Now, see what Lord Vishnu says. So first, Durvasa Muni, the great mystic, scorched by the heat of the Sudarshana Chakra, fell at the lotus feet of Narayana. His body trembling, he spoke as follows. O infallible, unlimited Lord, protector of the entire universe, you are the only desirable objective for all devotees. I am a great offender, my Lord. Please give me protection. O my Lord, O supreme controller, without knowledge of your unlimited prowess, I have offended your most dear devotee. Very kindly save me from the reaction of this offense. You can do everything, for even if a person is fit for going to hell, you can deliver him simply by awakening within his heart the holy name of your Lordship. So this Durvasa Muni, who is not a devotee, who is a mystic, even he knows, suddenly he is aware that Sudarshana Chakra is coming, some knowledge has come. He knows the power of the holy name, and how is it that the Lord delivers a devotee, a fallen person. So even if a person is fit for going to hell, which is all of us, we're all fit for going to hell, right? You can deliver him simply by awakening within his heart the holy name of your Lordship. So the process for getting delivered is through the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And now the actual verse for which we are seeing this pastime of Ambarish Maharaj. Please repeat after me. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham mad anyate na janati naham tebhyo managapi. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anything else but them. So the Lord first of all chastises him for having offended a pure devotee, and he is actually expressing his helplessness, that I cannot actually protect you because I am myself controlled by my devotees. You have offended my devotee, and how great that devotee is, he is explaining. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. So if somebody offends a devotee, you're actually offending the heart of the Lord, because the devotee is situated in the heart of the Lord. If we are offending a devotee, and we often commit mental offenses, even without meaning to, we often commit mental offenses thinking that devotees are just an ordinary person. Yes, I'm also devotee, he is also devotee, but why is he doing like this? like that, right? Somebody may commit mental offense, but what are you doing at the time? When you commit these mental offenses, you are actually offending the Lord's heart. So it's a great offense. This is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Vaishnava Aparadha is a mad elephant offense, destroys all our accumulated devotional service that we have done. Everything that you have done becomes zero. Every devotional service they have done so far becomes zero when you offend a devotee. So the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart and always in the heart of the pure devotee. Devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. So the purport, I'll quickly summarize one more important point within the purport. For the ordinary living beings, the law of nature is there for all actions and reactions, but is always anxious to put his devotees on the right path. So this is a very special protection of the Lord, that even somebody sometimes makes a mistake, the Lord personally intervenes to correct the devotee. He personally intervenes to correct the devotee, to teach him, no, this is not the way. Just like a father, a loving father would correct the child who is making a mistake. He won't give him up to the police, right? Let's say some child makes a mistake. What will the father do? Will he say, police, 911, come, this child is take him away. Even if the child is very, very highly misbehaving, still the father, brother, they will not give you away to the police like that. They will personally intervene and do whatever is needed to correct that, give so many chances, chance after chance after chance to correct the child. This facility is not available to those who are following the path of mystic yoga or jnana. It's not available to them. If somebody says, okay, I would like to follow the path of impersonalist, studying of the Lord's feature in impersonalist Brahman, and I'll simply acquire knowledge, I'll be philosophical, I'll be spiritual, but I will not accept the authority of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It could be because of some cultural heritage from parents, grandparents, etc. Because majority of the world is actually influenced by impersonalism, Mayavadam. Majority of the world, majority of the families, whether you are in whichever religion you are in, especially those who are born in India in Hindu religion, etc. Majority of the families, they are governed by Mayavadam. So such persons who are following the family traditions and following that path, this feature is not available. Unless you become a devotee, willingly surrender to a pure devotee, tad vidhi pranipatena, surrender to the pure devotee. Unless we take to that process, this personal protection of the Lord is not available. But for those who do so, this protection is available. And therefore the devotees are under the direct care of the Lord. And the Lord also voluntarily puts himself under the care of his devotees only. So there is a quotation also from Bhagavad Gita here, Bhagavad Gita 15.15. What is that verse? Anybody knows? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarver ahameve vedhyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So with this I'll just conclude here. I know I'm out of time here. So the Vedic hymns are chanted to please the Lord. And all the forgetfulness, remembrance, everything is coming from the Lord. Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. The Lord is the compiler of the Vedas, the knower of the Vedas, and the goal of the Vedas, the purpose of the Vedas, and the process of understanding the Vedas. Everything has been given in that verse. There is not enough time here to go into the details of this verse, but I would request all of you to kindly take some time. It's a very small purport, not very big purport. Try to read this verse 15.15 and read the purport as well. So the purpose of the Vedas, Upanishad, and Vedanta, the compiler of he's the compiler of the Vedas in the form of Vyasadeva. He has compiled the Vedas and the Vedanta and the commentary of the Vedanta, Srimad Bhagavatam. All of this is composed by the Lord, and the purpose of all of this is to please the Lord, is to understand the Lord. So let us remember here that the Lord, devotees of the Lord are always in the heart of the Lord, and this process is available to pure devotees and those who have taken to the path of pure devotion. And this comes with unlimited transcendental bliss And one who has taken to this process and is absorbed in the Lord, for that person, other kinds of pleasure, automatically they feel like they are nothing. Brahman is considered as hell, and there is no heavenly pleasures. The planets, the pleasures in the heavenly planets are considered like the will of the wisp, and the perfections of mystic yoga are considered like the venomous serpent who have lost all the teeth. The process is easier and automatically achieved for the devotees. Therefore, there is no point of taking up to the process of mystic yoga, because that process does not enhance the transcendental bliss that is felt by the devotee who is always thinking of the Lord in the core of their heart. So with this, I'll stop here and see if you have any questions or comments. Yes, Prabhu. Is going to hell. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, if person is going to hell. Okay. Absolutely. Oh, sorry. What is your question? You are saying that if a person has passed away, the forefathers of a person have already passed away, and I think you're trying to say that they've probably gone to hell, right? Or is that what you're saying? That they are already suffering in the hell, but in that family somebody takes to devotional service. Then how is it that all the previous generations are liberated? Because it is said that if a person becomes a pure devotee, like Prahalad Maharaj, then all the generations, 7 generations before, 7 generations after, are considered to be liberated. How does that happen? What is the difficulty? If somebody is in hell, they cannot be rescued from hell. They can be rescued, no? I mean, right now we are in hell only, but we are being rescued. The materialistic life is nothing less than hell. We are constantly under the forces of nature acting upon us, making us do all kinds of things which are not good for us at all. And we continue to do that. So just as progress towards devotion, pure devotee, it is said, pure devotee as well as those who are on the path of pure devotee, they both receive special treatment from the Lord. Similarly, those who are in hell and on the path of hell will get similar treatment. So we are also getting similar treatment. I mean, those who are of us, of course, we have trying to take to Krishna consciousness, but we are still trying, early stages. So just as by having taken to the Krishna consciousness, we are being saved from hellish condition right here. Similarly, those who are in hell also can be saved. I mean, how that will happen exactly, we don't know. But what is the difficulty in that? I mean, even according to the Karma Kanda section, forget the devotional service section, simply by offering oblations to the departed forefathers, they progress in their life. According to for those who have done, because my father passed away recently, 2 years back, and then while doing Pindadana, they explain what is the purpose of that Pindadana. And they explain how this of course they are not Krishna conscious. We know that Pindadana that we are supposed to offer Krishna Prasadam. That is Krishna Prasadam, it is just that the priest doesn't know it. So the process of offering, that ball of rice is first offered to the Lord, and that is what is offered then to the forefathers. And therefore, by having Krishna Prasadam once in their day, because once in a year here is like once in a day for them, simply by taking Krishna Prasadam, they are advancing to a higher status of life. And then they ultimately get promoted to the next planet, next higher planet, next higher planet, and then so on. And then they get liberated. So just by following the simple process of Shraddha ceremony, that can happen. Then why is it that by taken to the process of pure devotional service, if a person reaches to the process of sadhana bhakti, a person reaches a state of being a pure devotee, to the degree as Prabhupada wants all of us to reach, to go back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. So why the previous generations will not get liberated? They will get liberated from the hellish conditions. Just as from, even if your forefathers, departed forefathers are in some heavenly planet, could be a lower heavenly planet. There are different levels of heavenly planets. It is said that they go to higher and higher heavenly planets as a result of receiving our Shraddha, and they ultimately get liberated. So similarly from hell, which is like a negative of that scale, they can gradually come to a higher, better and better hell, even through the Shraddha ceremony, I'm saying. Even without path of pure liberation, through Karmakanda process itself, that happens. If you take the pure devotional service, would we not take the elevator, just as we take the elevator and bypass all our sinful reactions, accumulated sins, for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime? How many lifetimes you have to suffer in hell? All of that we are cut short, we are doing a cut short and straight going to Krishna Loka. So why that is not available to our forefathers, as it has been said for Prahlad Maharaj? It's possible. Does it answer the question? Yeah, it's a matter of faith only. It is like the example of threading the needle with an elephant. You heard the story of cobbler. So somebody may say, how is it possible for the elephant to enter into a needle? No, it's possible. If Krishna is saying an elephant can go into the needle, it can go into the needle. What is the difficulty of somebody in a hellish planet going to some other planet? Like, that's not difficulty at all. Stop here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki